Chair is present, Your Honor.
Everyone may be seated. You may continue.
Thank you. Detective Wolf, I was asking you, you were asked by the defense about whether or not you obtained buccal swabs from Mr. Fry, and you were indicating that you had not. Let me ask this question. Is there a process in order to obtain a buccal swab from a person?
Yes,
Okay. And you have to have probable cause determined by the judge to get a search warrant in order to obtain buccal swabs?
yes, I did.
Based on your experience at the police department, did you believe, based on what you knew about Mr. Fry, that you had probable cause to request a search warrant from a judge to obtain buccal swabs from Mr. Fry?
No, I did not.
You were also asked whether or not you obtained his phone or phone records from Mr. Fry. You had indicated that you had obtained other phone numbers that you believe belonged to Mr. Canada by way of a search warrant.
That's correct.
All right. And so would that same process and probable cause determination be made with respect to Mr. Fry's phone and or phone records?
It would, yes.
Do you see Mr. Malazzo here now?
I did.
Okay. Do you recall his appearance about 4 years ago when you
I did.
talked to him? Has it changed?
It does. He's much larger in stature today than he was 4 years ago.
Okay. You were also asked about Mr. Taylor.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you speak with Mr. Taylor at the time as part of your investigation?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Was he cooperative with you?
He was very cooperative. He voluntarily came to the police department to be interviewed.
Okay. And did he also voluntarily provide his phone to you?
He did.
Okay. Based on, did you have any reason to believe that Mr. Taylor and Mr. Canada were together at 1:30 in the morning on June the 21st?
No, I did not.
I believe that is all I have for now.
Detective, do you recognize the still frame?
Yes.
And what is that a still frame of?
The front door of the Thornton's gas station on Woodhill Drive.
And so I believe there's a timestamp on the bottom of that.
Yes, it is on June the 21st of 2014 at 12:38 a.m.
And this is the individual you and I were talking about earlier that showed up in the Thorntons when you were reviewing surveillance video.
That's correct.
So black male with dreads wearing a white shirt.
That's correct.
Would you like to move to introduce this, Your Honor? I believe it's 12. When I was questioning you earlier, we were having a back and forth about your interview on August 8th with Mrs. Kate, with Andrea, right?
Yes, we spoke about that interview, yes.
And you indicated that you did not suggest to her that she was wrong in her identification of that video.
I don't recall being suggestive to her.
Your Honor, at this point, I'd like to play the recording from that portion of the interview. Thanks, Ms. Sanders.
we approach, please?
See, the reason I asked you about this picture, I don't think that's key. Well, I mean, Q-Man has a lot of tattoos on his arms, and, you know, there's other pictures of him in the store. And the tattoos that Q-Man has on his arms aren't on the man's arms that are in this. Well, you can't see his face. I mean, it looks a whole lot like this guy. Do you know that one named Ron Stewart? That looked like Ron Stewart to you? Somebody told me that that was Ron Stewart, so that's a possibility also? Okay, so you're really saying that that is Q-Man because he has dreads and wears a hat? Okay, well, let's talk about this. Is Ron Stewart and Q-Man relatively the same size? So really, you're not 100% sure who that is. I mean, like,
Additionally, on redirect by the Commonwealth, you indicated that you didn't feel that you had enough information to apply for a warrant in this case for Mr. Fry's DNA or his phone records.
Correct.
So you made the decision not to even ask the judge, right?
I typically don't just go and try to ask a judge if I don't believe that that evidence exists.
Okay, the point I'm trying to make, Detective, is that it wasn't a judge who said there's no probable cause. It was you, right?
It was as a homicide detective with the police department that obtained search warrants for these types of things on a regular basis. It was my opinion at that point in the investigation that the probable cause for these search warrants did not exist. So yes.
Black male, residing in Lexington, in possession of the firearm you believe to be the murder weapon and the firearm you believe to be stolen from Quality Inn. It was not enough for probable cause in your opinion.
2.5 months after
I
the
understand,
crime.
Detective.
That is my opinion, yes.
But based off of all of that, the fact that he's in possession of the murder weapon, you made the decision not to apply for the warrant.
That is definitely correct, because I don't believe the probable cause exists 2.5 months after the fact, because he was in possession of the gun.
No further questions.
I do, and this is just a participation of this next witness. This is Commonwealth 70. Do you recognize this map here?
I do.
Okay, tell us what this is a map of.
This is a map primarily of the Woodhill neighborhood. In the top left corner, you see a shopping center, and that is, where the parking lot that encompasses the Austin City and the parking lot where Jonathan Price was murdered.
Here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you familiar with Edgewood Court?
Yes, I am.
And where is Edgewood Court?
Edgewood Court is here.
Okay. And is that in what is encompassed the Woodhill area?
Yes, this is Woodhill Drive here.
Okay. Can you tell us again where Edgewood Court is?
It's this court right here.
I marked that as Commonwealth 70. I don't have any other questions at this time, Judge. I will move to admit it at this time.
Exhibit 70 is admitted.
And I have no other questions.
You wish him to remain?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Detective. You may step down. You're subject to recall.
Yes, ma'am.
Call your next witness.
Antoine Wood.
Antoine Woods.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony given today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir? You're going to have a seat on the witness stand. Be careful, there's a small step here. Ma'am.
Thank you. Will you please say your name?
Antoine Woods,
Okay. Mr. Woods, back in 2014, where were you living?
Ridgewood Court,
Okay. Where is Hidwood Court?
Wood,
Out in Wood Hill? Okay. Do you know Quincencio, Canada?
yes,
All right. What do you call it?
Key Man,
How, have you known him for a while?
yeah,
Know his family?
my brother,
Know his brother? Okay. In January of 2015, did you talk to some police officers about QAnon?
yes,
All right. Do you remember what you were talking to them about for him?
yes,
What were you talking to them about?
homicide,
A homicide? Which homicide?
military dude, and the Marine dude that got killed at Wood Hill,
Okay. Do you remember what you told them?
not everything step by step, but I remember talking to him, most of it,
You remember talking to them being the detectives?
yeah,
Okay. Did you talk to them about seeing Q-Man that night?
yeah,
Do you remember where you saw him?
I Wood Hill on Ridgewood,
On Hedgewood?
yeah,
All right. And how did he come to see you on Hedgewood? Was he, did you all talk beforehand? Like how did he,
I didn't pull up on
yeah, did he just pulled up to you on Hedgewood?
Ridgewood Court,
On Hedgewood Court?
yeah,
Have you talked to him before on Hedgewood Court?
everybody come see me on Ridgewood Court,
Okay. And so when he pulled up on Hedgewood Court, what was he in a car?
yeah,
Do you remember what the car looked like?
so it was a gold car.
Huh?
I told him it was a gold car.
Do you remember telling the detective you didn't know what kind of car it was? Or what color car it was?
I remember telling him what kind of car it was.
Okay. And did you tell him you didn't remember what color car it was?
I remember that.
Okay. And so he pulled up. Was he driving or was he in the passenger side?
Passenger seat.
Okay. You saw him?
Yeah.
Do you know who was driving?
I don't know what to do, man. I
Okay.
don't know.
Have you seen him before?
That's what you know.
Just with Q-Man, you've seen him before?
Yeah.
All right. And when Q-Man pulled up, did he say something to you about what he had just done?
Yeah.
And what did he say?
Said he was just on Wood Hill job. I mean, he was just on Wood Hill and just shot somebody.
That he had just what?
Shot somebody.
He said he was on Wood Hill and just shot somebody?
Yeah.
All right. And do you remember what day that was?
No.
All right. Do you remember how long you talked to him?
No, not really.
Okay. And then did he leave at some point after that?
Yeah.
Did the detective show you some pictures, which one of them included Q-Man?
Yes.
All right. And were you able to point Q-Man out of that picture?
Yes.
Do you remember? Do you remember after he showed you the photos, and he was asking you, they look, the various people, do they look familiar to you in general, or they look familiar to you and the person who was driving the car, who was showing you the picture? Let me back up. Did they also show you some additional pictures to ask you if you knew who the person was that was driving?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you were talking about whether they looked familiar to you. Do you remember that part?
Yeah.
All right.
Objection leading, Your Honor.
And then did in asking about the gray car, do you remember them asking and saying, you remember that person with Q-Man that night in the gray car, and you replying, I don't know what kind of car?
Yeah.
Okay. No further questions?
So with your little soft spoken, I'll ask you to speak up a little bit so we can hear you, all right? So you testified today you was living on Hedgewood Court one night. Lucinio rode by in the passenger seat of a car and told you he had just shot somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't know what time was that?
No.
Okay. And you don't know how long the conversation was for?
No.
And you just told the prosecutor you thought it was a gold car.
I told the prosecutor I thought it was a go-kart.
You brought up a gold car. What were you saying about a gold car?
I said, that's what I told the detective, and now he asked me.
Okay. And the detectives, you talked to them on January 14th, 2015.
I
Right.
talked to him, I don't know what day it was.
Okay. Sometime afterwards, this happened.
So I
Yes.
talked to him, I don't know what day it was.
Okay. So you told the Commonwealth that you told the detectives that day Consiglio was in a gold car.
Yeah, when I talked to the detective.
Okay. Now, you said that Consiglio said he had just shot somebody.
Yeah,
Okay, like just now. Like it just happened. I wouldn't know, I shot somebody the other day or last week or nothing like that. Am I right?
yeah.
Okay. Now, did you know about the shooting that had occurred at the Woodhill Shopping Center?
No,
Okay. And of course, that, what I meant there was, did you know at the time you were talking to Consiglio that night?
no.
You didn't know about it? Okay. You found out about it sometime later?
Yeah,
Okay. And you figured that Consiglio was talking about that shooting?
yeah.
Okay. But he didn't say anything like, I shot a white person or anything like that. He just said Woodhill.
Right,
But y'all were standing in Woodhill.
yeah.
Okay.
That's good job.
I got a map here. I want you to take a look at this map. What do you see on this map?
My house, what else is supposed to say?
Well, it's a map. You know what part of the city it's from.
I never looked at the city like that off the map.
Okay. I tell you what. This is the Woodhill Shopping Center with the Thorntons and New Circle Road. This is Woodhill Drive, and this is Codell Drive. Does that help you out?
Yeah,
Okay, where's Hedgewood Court? There you go. Okay, where did you live on Hedgewood Court? Right there, all right. Now, if I'm right, Hedgewood Court comes off Woodhill right here and go, and it's this area, right? One way in, one way out of Hedgewood Court with a car, right?
yeah.
Okay. Now, let's be real here, Mr. Woods. You weren't telling the police this information because you had a stroke of conscience after 7 months or because you really wanted to help them out. You had your own troubles you were in.
And I didn't get no help at all.
It's going to be easier if you answer the questions that I asked you, okay?
Right,
You were in your own trouble.
right.
Okay, I want to go over that. This interview was on 1/14/15, January 14th, on December the 30th, you were charged criminally, correct? You're charged with 7 counts of wanton
Judge,
endangerment.
can we approach?
December 30th, you were charged with a number of felonies, 8 different felonies, right? Okay. And then fast forward January 10th, 4 days before this interview, you got charged with another felony. Yeah. And then January 13th, the day before this interview, you got charged with another felony. Okay. So you sit down with these gentlemen on the 14th. You're in jail at that point because you got arrested. Okay. Now, you told them you were looking for a 10%. You needed a 10%.
What?
A 10%. You know what a 10% is?
No,
You don't know what 10% is.
no.
You have no idea what a 10% is.
But 10% what?
Yeah, 10% of what?
That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a 10% in the context of someone's bond when they get arrested?
No, didn't tell him that. I didn't get that.
Didn't tell them that, didn't get
Not at all.
that. Okay. Were you aware that interview was recorded?
Yeah.
Okay.
See you and John. After that, man, I do all the stuff you do my whole that's my first kid. The first thing we did is like
Okay.
why she want to do his pregnancy. I don't know.
I don't have the authority to do it. What I can tell you is, I'd like to help you out on your challenges.
I told my lawyer today, all I wanted was a 10%. So
All I want to know is 10%.
That's what I told my lawyer. I ain't asked them for a 10%. That's what I told my lawyer. And
Is
then I
that
got
you
a blanket bond. I didn't get a 10% bond.
Mr. Woods, was that you talking?
Yeah.
Okay. You weren't talking to your lawyer right there.
That's what I told him. I told my lawyer. I didn't ask him for a 10% bond.
As I told my lawyer, all I'm asking for is a 10%.
That's what I told my lawyer.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
So you do know what a 10% is?
Right.
Okay. Well, you didn't a couple minutes ago.
I didn't know what you were saying. You just said 10%. You didn't say a 10% bond.
Okay. So you're in a lot of trouble if you're on
Yeah.
3 different sets of charges.
Yeah.
And you talked to the police on the 14th. And you told them, as I told my lawyer, all I want is a 10%.
I said, I told my lawyer I wanted a 10% bond. You just paid it.
Okay. Now, you talked to an investigator since then.
Right.
Okay. You told her you made this whole thing up.
And that's because everywhere I went, I got into a fight. Even when I went to the feds, I got into
Okay, now
a
listen
senior brother.
to my question, okay? You told the investigator that you made this all up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, later on down the road, that case that you got charged on December 30th,
Right.
that was dismissed by the grand jury.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on the other cases, you pled to lesser offenses.
Right.
Okay. Then you claim you didn't get it.
I didn't. It was paid lawyers.
Now, you claim you didn't get out of jail.
When?
Okay.
Wait, break it down. When?
I'm talking about January.
January. Yeah, I didn't say I did. I said I had a blanket bond. I did get out of jail. But it was a blanket bond for my $10,000 that I had paid in my money.
Okay. So, because you got out of jail.
Right.
Okay. Now, somebody coming up, telling anybody they just killed somebody, is quite a phenomenon.
I don't see why. People like to brag all the time.
Yeah, how many times has that phenomenon happened to you over your life?
It's gonna let it find out.
What's that?
Quite a few times.
Quite a few times people have told you they killed somebody,
Yep.
shot somebody. In fact, that day you were talking to the police, this was actually the second individual you told the police about that had come to you and told you they killed somebody.
Right.
Right. You remember the first one?
Who?
Okay. You told a different investigator earlier in this conversation you had with the police that a different individual had killed a different person in a different shooting. Right?
Not for sure.
I'm sorry?
You said I told a different investigator. that a
So there was
different
more than one cop in the room, right?
person- Right,
Okay. You talked to more than one police officer.
right,
Okay. And so I'm not talking about what you said to Wolf about this case right now.
right.
I'm talking about what you said to Detective Wilson about a different case. In fact, you claimed it was your girlfriend that was the victim.
Right.
Okay. So you told them that a person told you they killed her.
Right.
Right. And it's some person named Tudor. Right?
I killed my girlfriend?
That's what you said.
I don't remember.
That little girl was my girlfriend who got killed.
Oh, yeah, that, I think you're talking about, somebody else. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Okay, good. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. And they said, yeah, okay, good deal. And basically, and who did you hear did it? And you said, I don't know his name.
Right.
All right. And then pretty soon after that, they say, the investigators say, it's Tudor. And you say, yeah.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you go on to say, he told me that out of his own mouth.
Right.
So, the same conversation, you tell them, Presidio told you he just shot somebody in Woodhill.
Right.
And you tell them another person killed another
Shot
person,
somebody.
unrelated,
Yeah.
and told you about it.
Yeah, that they shot up a house and the female got killed there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You said you don't really even know that person that well.
I don't know Tudor like that, but shit, niggas talk. Niggas like to brag to me. That was the thing about it. I had high status in my little city. People like to brag to me, like to tell me things.
You had high status.
Yeah, I had high status. That's when the feds went out.
You're the old one.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay. So, you make some interesting other claims through here. You said that Q-Man called you that night before he rolled up on you. You saying that?
I don't know.
You claimed that this other person that was killed, and I don't mean to minimize this, you know, that's not this case, this is some set of facts. That person was killed in the house with other people in the house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you know all about that, like you said. It was a female that was killed, like we said. You said it was your girlfriend.
I used to mess with them. Yeah.
Okay. And there were other females present when that happened.
Right.
You claimed in the same conversation you had since had sex with all those other females.
Yeah.
Okay. And overall, this isn't the first time that you've given information to the police.
Pretty sure it's not.
Pretty sure it's not. In fact, you did it when you were younger. And as you told them, you took your statement back. Right?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. When they showed you 6 photos and asked you which one was Consigno, if you knew, you claimed to know every single person in the whole lineup.
Yeah.
Okay. You claimed to know a few out of the other lineup.
Yeah.
Okay. that day, you said you didn't know what kind of car it was, but today you're saying it was a gold car.
That ain't the kind, it's color, you didn't say that.
I'm sorry?
You said I didn't know what kind of car it was? I didn't say that, I never said I knew what kind of car it was. Today I didn't say it either. That's what you said, I said I knew the color. I said it was a gold car, I never said I knew what kind of car it was.
Fair enough, all right. So you're saying that this day you said it was a gold car?
I am probably not specifically that day, but I told him it was a gold car.
Okay. But you didn't know what kind of car it was?
No,
So you don't know if it's a
No.
VW Beetle or a Hummer or something, engineering?
I didn't know.
Okay. This is the car that you claim to actually view with your eyes?
Because I don't know what kind of car it was.
All right. That's all I have to.
Just a little bit, Mr. Woods, Mr. Tracy asked you about some charges and, that happened and some of those. Did you have a lawyer that was working to negotiate cases with you?
Even,
Huh?
define that, please.
He was talking to you about, did you get charged on this date, you get charged on this date, did you get charged on that date?
Right.
Did you have an attorney that was representing you during all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then despite all those things, he was asking about dismissed grand jury and reduced charges and different things like that, you don't believe that you got any assistance, is that right?
I need to know.
Do you believe that you got any assistance?
No.
Okay. And then he asked you about talking to their investigator, and you saying that you made it up about what you told the detective.
Right?
Okay. Why did you tell them that you made it up?
Because everywhere I went when I came from the state in Ohio, and I came to Fayette County. As soon as I got to a block, like during my
Your Honor, can we
assessment,
approach, please?
I was in there for like 3 minutes and I got jumped again. I went to the huddle. They moved me around a little bit. When I got back to the jail again, Fayette County, I got into another fight. And mind you, I never started none of these fights. All of these fights was over Q-Man. Oh, you better take your statement back, this, and that.
So
Now-
let me ask this question. The statement that you're talking about, the statement that you gave to the police that we're talking about,
Yes, ma'am.
that was, and it was at your understanding it was with the police file?
Yeah.
Okay, and so people knew about you giving that statement?
Yes.
All right, so is that a bad thing to testify and make a statement?
Yes.
All right, and so you got jumped for that?
Yes.
So when the defense investigator came to talk to you about that, what did you tell him? I don't know if it's him or her. What did you tell him?
Mm-hmm.
That you said that the investigator came
Mhm.
and talked to you,
Yes.
and you told him that you made it up?
Yes.
Is that why?
Yes.
Okay. So when you came in today, are you telling the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's all I have.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but the term used for people that provide information to police is generally you call a snitch,
Mhm.
so to speak. Okay. Or whatever that's worth. But this case, as we just showed, this ain't the only case that you provide information.
Right.
Right. You have to provide information on any number of cases, and I guess typically murder cases.
Nobody ever had no paperwork. This is the first case somebody ever was able to present black and white on me. First time somebody ever put that on my name. And when they did, that's what happened afterwards.
Okay. So you say, put that on my name.
That's when they called me a snitch.
Okay, so you're the one that told this story to the police in the first place?
Yeah.
And you told them this other story about how your girlfriend was killed by some other
Yeah.
person that you don't even know? Okay, so you decided to take that step. And at the time, you were in trouble 3 different ways for Sunday,
Right?
and then you got out of jail.
I don't, got a blanket bond that I pay for.
Blanket bond.
Yeah, but they use my $10,000 just a blanket bond, actually.
Right.
That means they're covering both of my cases with my money.
Right, it means that you already posted that bond.
Yeah, and then they
Then
using
you
that.
got in trouble
Yeah.
and got arrested again,
Yeah.
and then got out for no extra money. Okay. Right. Now, when you talked to the investigator, you didn't say, I'm taking this back because I'm getting beat up. Right, you said,
I never got into no fights by the time I talked to the investigator, period. This was after I came back to Kentucky.
Okay.
This was later on that year.
Okay.
This was November when I
So-
started getting into fights.
all those fights that you got into, that you had to recant because of these fights you were getting into, they didn't actually happen until after you already recanted.
No,
Okay, thanks. That's all.
I have no question at this time, but I would like to address something with the court at the close of this witness testimony.
And then, okay, so let me clarify. You, did the fights,
I didn't get jumped until after I made the statement, after I got jumped after he got his paperwork. Before then, I didn't get jumped. After that lady came to see me or whatever, the investigator, that's when the stuff started to cool down, after I took my statement back. But before I seen that lady, I was getting jumped by him.
okay, so you made a statement to the police.
Right.
After you made the statement to the police, you got jumped.
Right.
And then when the investigator came to talk to you,
Yeah.
you took the statement back, said you didn't make it.
Yes.
And then people stopped jumping.
Yes.
Okay. That's all.
No, not the privilege.
Thank you guys for your comments.
You may.
You want to keep it for prior to final
Prior to
statement?
time, excuse me. All right, thank you, Mr. Wood, you may step down, you are free to go.
Thank you. Mr. Wolf, I actually had, or Detective Wolf, sorry. I said one, but actually two questions. One question is, you recall talking to Antoine Woods in January of 2015.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you all have a conversation about the car in which he saw Q-Man come up to him?
Yes.
All right. And did he ever indicate the color of that car?
No.
And then, the other question being, in the course of having a conversation with him, did you show him a lineup or show him some photographs that had Q-Man in it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and then did he indicate that he knew him?
He did.
All right.
He indicated that he knew him for a significant amount of time since they were juveniles.
Okay, and then did you also show him some photographs that included Mr. Malone?
Yes, I did.
Okay, did he indicate that he?
As far as the car goes, in that interview, you suggested grade, he said, I don't know what color car, what type of car it was. Is that right?
Yes, he did not provide a color.
Okay. Now, you're aware that he, previously in the same conversation, he had given another detective, told that detective that another different person had confessed of doing a different murder. So, Detective Wilson.
Yes, Detective Wilson was also present during that conversation.
Okay. That was a shooting that happened, I believe, on Scottsdale? That's
I believe so.
Okay. And we can call Detective Wilson if we need to, but you guys, work as a group. Detective Wilson's in the robbery and homicide unit at the time, right?
Yes,
And he still is, right?
yes.
Okay. In that's a pending active prosecution right now, right? That case is still going.
I believe so.
Okay. The person charged is named Alan Burgess.
Judge, can we approach?
Judge, I have no further questions.
Any follow-up questions? If you are, he's done.
Oh, no, ma'am, I'm gonna ask him to remain on call.
Okay, all right, and you have, you're still on call, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Please come to us. Ladies and gentlemen, during this time, we're going to
reasons. And so one person having contact with an item for a shorter period of time may leave more DNA than another person having contact with an item for a long period of time.
So, let's talk about how an inclusion is made. When you're looking at the profile that you developed, if someone's gene type matches the gene type or allele in the profile, they're included. Is that right?
So I will look at the overall profile to determine the number of contributors and minimum number of contributors, and then I will compare the alleles that are present at each location to the alleles that are present at that same location in the known reference standard that I'm comparing. If the same alleles are present, then I would say there's an inclusion at that particular locus. And I'm going to do that over the entire profile. And so you may have a situation where an individual might be included. They might have the same allele at a particular locus, but they're not included in the overall profile. Because these alleles are present in the population, there is going to be some inherent random overlap, but an individual that's excluded is not going to be present. The alleles that are consistent with their alleles are not going to be present at every single location.
So, if you have, so let's talk about the hat, where you found lots of different gene, or there was multiple gene types at multiple locations.
Yes, there were multiple alleles at multiple locations.
So in that instance, more people are included than, say, in a single source DNA.
That is correct. So the more alleles that are present, the more possibilities for an individual to be included into that mixture.
So when we're looking at a mixture and doing an analysis, it's probably easier to exclude people, really.
Maybe. I guess, yes. So it's very easy to see that an individual's alleles are not present. And then if an individual's alleles are consistent throughout that entire mixture, then that would be an inclusion. I don't know that that individual necessarily contributed to that sample. What I can say is that there are alleles consistent in that mixture that are consistent with his or her profile, and give you an estimate of how rare or how common an inclusion in that profile would be.
So an inclusion does not mean a person contributed DNA to that item?
That is true. It means that they could be included. That means that there were alleles that were consistent with them throughout, in this case, throughout that mixture. However, I can't definitively say that an individual contributed to any mixture or any DNA profile for that matter.
When you're looking at your profile, you talked before about how most people, everyone has one or two different gene types at each location.
Yes, that's correct.
So when you're looking at a profile where there's 6 gene types at one location, you don't know which pairs go with each other, right?
In this particular sample, no, I was not able to determine that these pairs go together. Some samples you might be able to, if there was something like a major contributor, where one person is contributing way more DNA than the other contributors. This sample is not that kind of sample, and so no, there would not be a way to say this particular allele goes with this particular allele. That would be helpful in including or excluding someone, but that is not this type of sample, and that's also not the type of statistic that was produced for this sample either. It is looking at those 6 different alleles that are present in that particular thing just across the board and saying, is there consistency or is there inconsistency?
So it sounds like the profile you got from the hat, it just wasn't that clear.
It is a mixture of at least 3 people, so that is going to be more common. More people could be included into it because it is a mixture of at least 3.
So when someone's included, it doesn't mean as much than when it's a single source mixture, or when there's only a few, when there's less alleles present?
Anytime there's more alleles, more people could be included. That's that's just inherently how the sample is. And that's reflected in our statistics. For example, I matched a sample to Mr. Price that had a statistic of 91 quadrillion. That number is a lot larger than the number, for example, in a mixture that might be in the hundreds of thousands. And so the statistic reflects that rarity or commonness of somebody being included in that profile.
You also obtained swabs from a car?
Yes, I received two swabs, two sets of swabs, one from the right front passenger door handle and one from the right front passenger interior door handle, and then a steering wheel cover, which I'm assuming came from the same car, but I don't actually know that.
And you tested those items for blood?
Yes.
You didn't find any blood?
I did not find any blood in those items.
They weren't submitted for DNA testing?
No. These items were collected from either Mr. Canada or Mr. Malazin's vehicle. I'm not sure which individual. However, so without finding any blood, that's not really informative. You're allowed to have your own DNA profile on your car. You're allowed to have other people's DNA profile on your car. That's not providing any information. So if there wasn't any blood in those items, then I deemed that they would not provide any information linking anybody to a particular location or a scene or anything like that.
And no officer or detective or submitting officer asked you to run DNA on those items?
They did. They submitted the items for the purpose of obtaining a DNA profile. However, part of my job is to make decisions about what items are going to be useful and what items are going to not be useful.
Isn't it the case that you occasionally, that an officer can follow up and make a specific request for additional testing?
They may. They can make a request for additional testing. A Commonwealth attorney could make a request for additional testing, as well as anyone from the Department of Advocacy could make a request for additional testing. We also preserve all the items of evidence, so if a private attorney wanted additional testing, they could make arrangements for that as well. So yes, there are multiple individuals that could follow up if there is more information that maybe would change whether an item, I would deem an item to be useful or not useful.
I think at this time you requested that we take a break, so maybe we can do that.
Fantastic, thank you.
And Steph, since you did your work on this case, the lab has gotten new equipment, right?
Yes, we've got lots of new equipment.
And new protocols?
We do have new protocols, so anything that's new equipment or new reagents or something like that would require validation, so require testing, and then we would develop our protocols from that.
And those things changed in August of 2015?
In August of 2015, we got some, we validated some new software and had a lot of training in a particular way of analyzing mixtures. So I believe that's what you're referring to. We've also gotten a lot of other new equipment since then as well. Yes, in August of 2015, we significantly changed how we interpret mixtures and the type of statistics that we use across the board.
And everything that you did is still valid for what you did on this case, right?
Yes, that's what we had validated. That was what was common in the community at the time. Those are the tools that we had available, and that is what we were audited to, both to the quality assurance standards and our accreditation, was what I did in 2014.
But if you got this case and this evidence today, you would run a different analysis.
Yes, we are using a different type of statistic, and so yes, that is what we have validated. That's what our protocol is now.
And you use some of the other equipment?
Yes, I don't know that other equipment necessarily would change a whole lot, but it is different, and that equipment was purchased primarily for efficiency reasons, some robotics and things like that.
And there have been cases where you've been asked to reanalyze items.
Occasionally, we will reanalyze items, and we certainly would reanalyze items if we received new standards and had to make a new comparison. That's typically where we've done it in the past.
And so you could reanalyze these things with those new tools and new statistics and protocols.
Potentially, that could happen, yes.
And it's possible that you could pick up more alleles, more gene types.
That would be, that's a possibility. There's also a possibility yes, that you could get different information, and then that information could be used in a different way because of our change in terms of how we use statistics and mixtures. So the results could be different for a variety of reasons.
And when you say the results could be different, one of the ways they could be different is that you could identify a profile, a different profile.
I wouldn't expect to identify a completely unknown new profile. So there's a potential that you could identify some more alleles, but I wouldn't expect to get a completely different profile the second time. Yeah.
But if there were more alleles, that would help, that would change the profile because there'd be more gene types at those locations.
Yes, so overall you might identify that there are, maybe you could determine for sure that there are definitely, it's consistent with 3 people or it's consistent with 4 people or something like that. That would be the big thing that you could do is potentially determine that there are more than 3 people in this mixture, where right now I can tell you the minimum number is 3, but maybe I can tell you that there was 4, or maybe I could say, no, this profile is consistent with 3, that sort of thing.
We're looking at the clothing and swabs from Jonathan Price. If there were more alleles, you might be able to identify a profile of the profile would include more than one contributor at more than one of those locations.
Potentially, there would have to be, at least based on the results that I have right now, I would have to identify a significant number of alleles. I would not, new alleles, I guess, or alleles that weren't detected initially, I would not expect that to happen because there were so few to begin with.
But if more alleles were present, it could lead to a profile of a suspect.
That's possible.
In this case, you received known profiles, right?
I received blood or buccal standards from known individuals in order to produce, yes, what we would call their known profile.
Okay, certainly. And those buccal and blood standards you received from Jonathan Price, Megan Price, Quincinio Canada, and Duane Malazzi.
Yes, I received known reference standards from those 4 individuals.
And you didn't receive any other standards?
No, I did not receive any other known reference standards.
So you couldn't make any other known profiles without having standards?
Yes, and that's why the standards are required.
So you couldn't compare the profiles that you developed from these items to anyone else other than those 4 people?
That is correct.
So in your job, you are given evidence and you analyze that, right?
Yes.
You reran some testing on Mr. Price's clothing, right?
Well, I tested them initially based on the information that I had. I believe this was also approved as a rush case, which is going to limit the number of samples that we'll do initially. And so I can't remember that far back, unfortunately, but my guess is that in this case we were asked to do a rush, and so I had to prioritize, okay, these are the certain number of samples that I can do in a more compressed time frame in order to provide some information, and then if there's follow-up testing that's needed, I'll go back and do that later, but in order to minimize the interruption in the laboratory.
There were times when you did a second analysis of samples to try to get more information.
Yes, so I did not a second analysis of the same swabs that I took, but like, for example, I took swabs from the blue jeans, I did those initially, and then went back and did the serological testing of the blue jeans and took some kinds that were, that contained blood on for doing analysis as well. And that's what I was talking about with that time frame of, we were asked to work with a shorter time frame than we usually work with. And so in order to minimize the interruption to the laboratory, I started with a few number of samples and then later went back and did those cuttings from the blue jeans and some other samples.
Well, for instance, the swabs from the right hip pocket.
Yes.
You ran a test once.
Yes.
And then you ran a second test on more parts of that swab.
No.
On the cutting from the left hip of the blue jeans, you ran a test once, right?
Yes.
And you thought you could get more information if you ran it again.
Okay, I understand what you're asking. I did not rerun that swab again. I did not take it through the whole process. What I did was inject it through our genetic analyzer at a increased setting, a higher voltage to get more DNA information. That's not the same thing. We would consider that a reanalysis. That's something that we do routinely. Often it can be done in the same run, so to speak. But sometimes if the run finishes, then I'll go back and rerun it again. But it is the same sampling, it's the same process. So that it's not a reanalysis.
Okay. So you don't have a reanalysis. I'm sorry, what do you call it?
A reinjection. Reinjection would be the best word.
Okay, and so when you say reinjection, you're just doing you're doing one of the later steps of the analysis again.
Yes, and that's something that we do pretty routinely. If the first injection is not good, maybe it's not a successful injection, or if a sample is low level and I want to try to get more information out of that sample, I may re-inject it. If a sample is overly strong, I may inject it at a lesser strength to bring it more on scale so I can interpret it, but those sort of things. That's pretty routine. Most cases most cases have samples that have multiple injections in them.
So you did a re-injection on the cutting from the left, the information you got from the cutting from the left hip of the blue jeans. I believe that would be the lab item 4.1.6.
Okay, so 4.1.6. Yes, so 4.1.6 was actually re-amplified. So that would have gone back even a step further, but yes. So it was re-amplified.
And you did a re-injection on Jonathan Price's wedding ring.
Is that item 10? Yes, I did a re-injection on, actually both of those items were re-injected.
And you did that in hopes of getting more information, right?
Yes, and those were both low-level profiles, or there was, maybe there was some part of the profile that was strong, but there was a lower level contributor. I was trying to get more information, or get as much information as I could.
And in fact, you did get more information on those after that testing.
Yes.
It wasn't enough to develop a suspect.
I was not able to develop a profile that was enough of a profile that would be different from Mr. Price. That is correct.
So Mr. Price was included?
Mr. Price was, there was DNA consistent with him on his wedding ring, so he was included. He was included on the swabs, on the cuttings and the genes. Then that profile matched him, and the estimated frequency of that was 91 quadrillion. And then the swabs from his ring was a mixture. I could not determine if he was a contributor or not to that mixture.
And on those items, Mr. Malazan was excluded?
Mr. Malazan was excluded from both of those items, that's correct.
That's all I have, thank you.
Ms. Duff, just a couple questions, not trying to belabor any points, because I think we've been through it pretty thoroughly. Mr. Canada's DNA was not found on any of these items that you tested, correct?
Mr. Canada was excluded from all of the items except for the hat, in which case, with the hat, I could not make any determination as to whether he was a contributor or not. So I could not include him, I could not exclude him, I just could not make any determination about his status as a contributor at all.
Is there any inference to be drawn of the likelihood of his DNA being present on that hat or not, based on the testing that you did?
No, I would say there's no inference to be drawn.
Okay. And I'm assuming if there was more information present, more, I guess, DNA information present, perhaps a conclusion could have been drawn, but it wasn't here.
Yes, if there had been more information, I might have been able to exclude him, I might have been able to include him. That's not something that I can answer.
Okay.
For sure, that would be.
Right. And so, right, yeah, so at the end of the day, it's no more likely that his DNA is there or not there. We just don't know.
I don't know, I could not make a determination.
Okay. Nothing further.
I just had a couple of follow-up questions. The portion of the hat that was tested, tell us which portion was tested for DNA.
The portion of the hat that was tested for DNA were swabs from the hat band. So I took, make sure I have the right, give me the right number. We took 2 swabs, so those are like a long Q-tip, and swabbed wetted them with distilled water and swabbed the inside of the hat band, so the part that would be touching your head if you were wearing it.
So just the inside of that?
Just the inside of the hat band.
Okay, and then we've spoken again about there being 3 DNA profiles found when you tested the hat.
Yes, there was DNA from at least 3 different people.
Okay, and you could definitively include Juan Malazan as his DNA being included in one of those profiles.
I could include him as a contributor to that mixture that was from the hat band, and I would estimate that 1 person in 340,000 random unrelated individuals could be a contributor to this mixture based on the relevant United States populations.
Okay, and I want to talk also about DNA and how it's deposited. You kind of explained that with the shirt example. Is DNA deposited in different amounts?
Well, certainly, body fluids are going to have a lot of DNA, blood has a lot of DNA, semen has a lot of DNA. That's why we use those a lot in our laboratory for testing. Handling an item can deposit DNA on an item. Putting an item in your mouth where there's saliva could deposit DNA on like a cigarette butt. So it would just depend on the manner in which it was handled, whether there was a body fluid there. But even if I didn't test it for a body fluid like a cigarette butt, there was still a fluid present. So I don't know if it was in the mouth, that sort of thing.
What about skin cells? Are those deposited in different amounts depending on the person?
Yes. So it would depend on the individual, whether they are what we would call a shedder, whether they're leaving lots of skin cells behind, whether they're leaving very little. That can depend on the person, that can depend on the day for a person. It might depend on the size of the item, whether that item is smooth or textured, how much contact they had with the item. you know, did it, like, you know, was it like a rug burn situation, you might leave more, versus if you just casually touch the countertop, all of those things. Even, for example, you can leave fingerprints and not necessarily leave DNA, or vice versa, because those are two different things. So there's just so many factors that I would never be able to tell you, like how the DNA got on the item, or that one person left more DNA than another, or something like that.
So there are a lot of factors that go into whether DNA is left at all?
Yes.
Okay. And can DNA be removed or wiped away from an item?
So certainly items can be cleaned. We obviously clean things in our laboratory. We clean our benches. We clean our instruments. You can, you know, if you wash a shirt that has a stain on it in the wash machine, like you can wash it away. Just like anything else, I think we've probably gotten a paper cut and gotten blood on our clothing. Like it can be removed. It can be washed away. It just depends on how much and how it's treated, you know, after it's been deposited, whether there would be any left necessarily.
So how much was there initially?
How much was there initially, what kind of cleaning or environmental insults it was subjected to, a variety of different factors.
Handled by various people, was that?
Sure, if you
play a role in that as well.
If you, I don't know, wiped it off or, you know, something like that, I suppose there could be, I don't know, blood on an item that then you transfer to yourself, and remove part of it from the item if it was still wet, something like that.
Okay, and just because someone touches something, does that mean that you will find that person's DNA on that item?
No.
And that's all I have for you, thank you.
Ms. Duff, you said there was a lot of variation in how people, when people shed DNA, right?
Yes, there's a lot of variation.
So if someone's a good shedder, they could leave DNA on something, even if they only touch it for a short period of time.
Oh, absolutely.
Even a shorter period of time was a second.
Sure. I don't know. I don't know that there's necessarily a lot of time. You know, I have not done any time studies. I don't know that there's a lot of time studies, whether it would take a second or 2 seconds or something like that. But certainly if you're a shedder, you may leave more DNA even with what we would call casual contact or very limited contact.
That's all my questions.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth would move to admit that as Commonwealth's Exhibit 71. And if we could approach before our next witness.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we'll take a break at this time. Our next witness will be live, but we'll be pretty lengthy. So during this recess, please don't discuss this case among yourselves or forming opinions or conclusions that has not been longer submitted to you during my prior meetings. We'll be in recess for about 10 or 15 minutes.